to all in your own channel NCERT e-teaching. I am Dr. Kailash Meena, going to discuss chapter number 13 of class 8 science, which is sound. So today we will discuss about the sound, and in this introductory slide I am sure that you will be able to identify these musical instruments which we see in our day-to-day life, in our school also, in musical room. So first let's see the points which we are going to discuss in this chapter. So sound is produced by a vibrating body. So we know many sources of sound, we hear many types of sound, but how sound is produced, which things produce sound, which things don't produce sound. Okay, the basic difference you will notice if you are observing the vibration. Okay, so sound is always produced by a vibrating body. This we will discuss. Sound produced by humans, how we humans produce sound, because I am recording this video because I am able to produce sound. Sound needs a medium for propagation. Okay, this thing we may not aware, but sound needs a medium. In this planet earth we always have a medium. We are surrounded by a medium. If we are on land, we are surrounded by air. If we are in water, we are surrounded with water. So we always have a medium for propagation of sound. But if we talk about moon, there is no medium, so we cannot talk on moon. We hear sound through our ears. This thing I am sure that we all know, that if you close your ears, the sound you are hearing lowers down. Okay, so this thing I'm sure that all students are aware that we hear sound through our ears, but we will discuss anatomy of the structure of the ear. Amplitude, time period and frequency, these are some features of vibration, and they also affect the quality of sound. We will discuss audible and inaudible sounds. Okay, this interesting facts we will learn, that there are some sounds which we are not able to hear, but other creatures may hear those types of sound. Noise and music, I am sure that you have heard about these words, noise and music. Then we will discuss about noise pollution. Okay, the harms of noise pollution and how can we limit the noise pollution. So let's get started. These are some musical instruments. You can see, you can identify, and maybe you have seen in real life some of these instruments. Next, these are some other musical instruments: dholak, shehnai, drum, mouth organ. Now, how sound is produced? So as I have said that sound is produced by a vibrating body. So when you hear sound in your day-to-day life, in kitchen, when because of some utensils, because of utensils we hear sound in kitchen, or in bell, in temples or in school, if you see the bells, because of bells we hear sound. Okay, and of course musicians produce sound deliberately, and then here you can see by stretching some threads or rubber you can produce sound. So always if you are hearing any sound, if you can touch that medium, you will feel the vibration. If some utensils fall down in the kitchen and you see and you hear the sound, if you immediately touch the utensil, you will feel the vibration, and as soon as you touch that utensil, the vibration actually that slows down and the sound will also slow down. So you try, if it is feasible to you. So if it is safe to touch anything which is producing sound, you can try this activity at your home also, that you touch and you feel the vibration. And very simple activity, that while talking or singing, if you touch your neck, okay, here, then you also can feel the sound vibration here. So while talking, if you touch your throat here from here, then you can also feel the vibration, because every vibrating body is, every sound producing body is vibrating. So vibrations are the reason of production of sound. And you will learn about vocal cords also. So in our throat we have vocal cords inside. So those stretched vocal cords vibrate because of the movement of air, and this is how we are able to produce sound. So sound plays an important part in our daily lives. We all know it helps us to communicate with each other. We hear a wide variety of sounds in our surroundings. Sound is produced by vibrating body. Very important. Vibration is the to and fro or back and forth motion of the object. Okay, that's this was that thing. If you have seen pendulum, to and fro movement means if you have pendulum or jhula in the garden, this type of movement, if thing is here, it is moving like this, then from here to here, then from here to here, this type of movement is called back and forth movement or to and fro movement. So to and fro movements are responsible for the vibration. Okay, this is what we call vibration. If one thread is moving to and fro or back and forth, this is called vibration. For example, if we strike a school bell, it vibrates and produces sound. If you pluck a stretched rubber band, it vibrates and produces sound. If you beat a drum, its stretched membrane vibrates and produces sound. If you blow a bulge, the air column vibrates and produces sound. Okay, so if we talk about okay, let's talk about musical instruments. So in every musical instrument, one part is there which will vibrate and which will produce sound. So in veena, sitar and violin and guitar also, what do you see? Stretched strings, they produce sound. In tabla, mridangam and drum, stretched membrane produce sound. And in shehnai, flute and mouth organ, we do not see anything vibrating. So the air column in that musical instrument, for example in flute, it vibrates, and it is also important for our examination also. In examination, and they will ask about the part of any musical instrument which vibrates to produce sound. Next thing, okay, so sound is produced when they are beaten or struck. Why we need to beat anything or struck anything to produce sound? Because to produce vibrations. Okay, so this is an example of jal tarang, very simple to make at our home also. You can fill many glass tumblers with different levels of water, and then you can make a jal tarang. Okay, so in every example you will see we beat musical instrument to produce vibration actually, and that vibration is the cause of producing sound. So I hope that this thing is clear to all, that sound is produced by a vibrating body, or if a body or if anything is producing sound, it means it is vibrating, or the vibration is the reason for producing sound. If you see this activity, I am sure that you have you have produced sound by using this type of paper or polythene. Okay, when you take 2 layers or 3 layers of paper and polythene and you blow air, then definitely you will produce sound. If you sometimes when we fill air in balloons, accidentally sometimes we produce sound. Okay, so this also proves that sound is produced by a vibrating body. So same type of mechanism is there in our throat. Okay, in our neck we have some tubes, air pipe and wind pipe. Air pipe is called trachea, and it is also wind pipe, and food pipe is called esophagus. These things we learned in class 7th in human anatomy. So sound is produced by some threads, okay, in our throat. Those threads are called vocal cords, and these vocal cords lie in a organ which is called larynx, okay, or voice box. So in human, sound is produced by a voice box or larynx. It is the upper part of the windpipe. What do you call windpipe? Trachea. Two vocal cords are stretched. You can see the anatomical details also here. animated diagram and a real picture. So these are vocal cords, these. Okay. So when air passes through this vocal cord, they vibrate and they produce sound. So this is how our throat or voice box or larynx produce sound. Now, sound requires a medium to propagate. So that I was also discussing, that if there is no air, water or any solid thing, sound cannot propagate. But it is for us it is difficult to imagine, because we have not seen anywhere or any place where there is no medium. So if you are aware about the vacuum, what do you mean by vacuum? See, if you can remove air from this glass tumbler, then that situation is called vacuum. If there is no air, no water, there is no medium, it is called vacuum. So in vacuum we will not be able to hear anything, because sound needs a medium to propagate. Sound can travel in liquid, sound can travel in solid, and sound also can travel in gases, but it needs a medium. Without medium, sound cannot propagate. So if you are aware about the moon have very low gravity if you compared with the earth, so it doesn't have any atmosphere, and that is why we need a space suit to go on the moon, and you will feel different level of gravity, and there will be different pattern of walking in moon. In the same way, we cannot talk on the moon, because there is no atmosphere, there is no medium. Okay, so let's read these lines. Sound travels through solids, liquids and gases. Okay, so in every medium it can travel, but there is a difference in speed also. In solid, the sound propagates in high speed, and in air in low speed, and in liquid medium speed. Sound does not travel in vacuum. You can create vacuum also, like this. You can suck the air of glass. If you have done this experiment in home, the glass will stick to your face. Why? Because if you suck the air, the vacuum generates in the glass, and then glass tries to fill it with anything, so it is stuck on your face. In this situation, okay, although this is little difficult experiment, you put one small mobile phone and you suck the air, create vacuum, and you ask your friend or any other to ring that to call on that mobile, so that you can all hear the ringtone. So when you suck the air and you create the vacuum, slowly, gradually you will see the volume of sound is going down, because sound cannot travel without the medium. So this is how you can experience this fact also. And this is an arrangement in physics lab, in junior science lab. Okay, so there you can, by using this instrument, you can create vacuum, and you can see you will not be able to hear the ring because of, or bell, because of the vacuum. Now the structure of ear. So human, we all know that we hear through our ears. Okay, so human ear is the organ in our body. With the help of ears we listen. So what we see outside is only the outer ear. Okay, you can complete this diagram like this. From outside, okay, you will see only this ear. So this ear is called external ear or outer ear. Only this part you see outside. Inside also, in our skull, we have some parts of ear which we are not able to see. Okay, those parts are called middle ear and inner ear. So simply you can divide for study three parts in our ear. One part, 1, 2 and 3, 3 parts. So this part is called inner ear, this part is called outer ear, and this part is called the middle ear. So middle ear is nothing but an ear canal. This is an ear canal. Outer ear, if you see, you can touch your outer ear, and actually there is no function of outer ear in hearing directly. Okay, although it collects the sound waves. If you see the ear of cow, buffalo, rabbit, deer, if you have seen, they can move their ear pinna. This part is called ear pinna. So So they can move their outer ear. We cannot move our outer ear. Okay, so we can only touch our outer ear, but we cannot move our outer ear. So they can move their outer ear in the direction of sound. So that also proves the function of the outer ear. So the function of the outer ear is to collect the sound waves. Okay, there are sound waves in the environment because of any vibrating body, because vibrating body can produce sound. So when sound waves are there, our external ear or ear pinna will collect the sound waves. This is the only function of the outer ear. Then these sound waves go into the this canal. Okay, let me again show the division, because there was some mistake. Actually this part is the outer ear, this complete part is the outer ear. Eardrum is the marking from where the middle ear begins. This is what we call eardrum. So from eardrum we see middle ear, and then there is another marking which is called oval window here. So this part is inner ear, this part is middle ear, and this part is outer ear. So previously I mistakenly said that only this part is outer ear, which was wrong. Okay, outer ear not only includes pinna, but it also includes the auditory canal. Okay, so there are two parts in the outer ear, the ear pinna and the auditory canal, and the function of outer ear is very simple, to collect sound waves. Okay, now what is the function of middle ear? The middle ear is the amplifier. Middle ear amplifies the sound waves. Okay, so outer ear collects the sound waves like this, then these sound waves strike on the eardrum, and there are three bones. Okay, there are 1, 2 and 3 little bones in our ear. If you want to learn more about bones, I have made one video. I will provide the link in the description. You will be able to count all the bones, all the 206 bones in our body. So there you will also learn that in our each ear we have 3 bones. So see, these 3 bones are called ear ossicles. You will learn more about these bones in class 11th, the names of these bones also. Okay, in class 9th also you will learn something about these bones. So these 3 tiny bones are called ear ossicles, and Malleus, incus and stapes are the scientific names of these ear ossicles. So these ear ossicles vibrate to amplify the sound. So the outer ear collects the sound, the pinna and the auditory canal, and middle ear amplifies the sound. Finally internal ear or inner ear. So inner ear, you can notice that it is having some semicircular canals plus snail like appearance or tube. So it is a very coiled tube. So these all tubes are filled with liquid. Okay, you will learn more about these structures in class 9th and 11th. So here you can see inner ear will transport or this signal to our brain, okay, through some nerves. In a higher classes you will learn different functions of these different parts, that these semicircular canals are helping in balancing, because we know that ears do not only helps in hearing, but also they helps in in balancing also. So if your ears are not okay, you will find difficulty in balancing also. So in summary, again I am repeating, we have 3 parts in our ear: outer ear, middle ear and inner ear. So the function of the outer ear, which includes pinna and auditory canal, is only collecting sound waves. The function of middle ear is to amplify the sound waves with the help of 3 ear ossicles, Malleus, incus, stapes, and the function of inner ear is to propagate that sound to our brain through some nerves. So this is about the structure of ear. This is again detailed structure of the ear, which is not necessary in class 8th level, but you can see if you want some details. You can take a screenshot. You can see some other markings or fine or detailed structures. These are the ear ossicles or 3 bones. You can see the names also if you are interested, otherwise this is not required in class 8 level. Next thing, properties of sound. So as we know, the sound is a wave, okay, and there are so many types of waves you can see. Simplest waves we see in water. When we throw some stone or pebble in the water, you will see some ups and downs or waves. Okay. So waves have some properties. If you make a graph of wave, you will see these two graphs of some sounds or some types of waves. See. So this graph shows actually repetition. This repetition is called frequency, and the height, this height from this middle line is called the amplitude or loudness. So this is less frequent sound, this is more frequent sound. So this is having high frequency, this is having low frequency. If I make waves like this, it will have high amplitude. So there are two features which are called amplitude and frequency. There are some features of sound, not only sound but any type of wave. Okay. So if any sound have more amplitude, then it is very loud, and if it is having more frequency, it will not be loud but it will be very fine. Okay, let's see some example, then you will be able to understand what I mean about the frequency. So in drums and tabla produce low frequency sound, and this whistle is producing high frequency sound. So for frequency we use one term which is called pitch. Pitch means frequency. So low pitch sound means having low frequency, high pitch sound means having high frequency. Okay, let's see. So these are some properties of any type of waves, but here we are discussing sound waves. So amplitude, time period and frequency, let's discuss them. Vibration is the to and fro motion of an object. It is also called oscillatory motion. This we all know. To and fro means back and forth motion, and oscillatory motion of pendulum we have discussed. The maximum displacement of an oscillatory body from its central position is called its amplitude. Okay, this is very technical language, but in graph I can say this type. Maximum frequency means this height is called amplitude. And again, if we want to make it very simple, see, let's see this simple pendulum, or remember the jhula in the garden. This is what we call amplitude. This is what we call amplitude. So jhula, if jhula is going very far, it is having more amplitude. It's going less amplitude. This is what we call amplitude. And how many times it is going back and forth in 1 minute or 1 second, okay, any time period. This is called frequency. So I am sure that you are able to differentiate in amplitude and frequency. Amplitude means how far it is going. Frequency, how many times it is going. Okay, frequency and amplitude. So frequency is called pitch, amplitude is called loudness. Okay, now you can see that if you hear whistle or drum is more loud, whistle is less loud. So it is having high amplitude, low amplitude whistle. But if you talk about the frequency, drum is having low frequency, whistle is having high frequency. Okay, boy's voice is having low frequency, girl's voice is having high frequency, but boy's voice may be loud. Okay, so in technical terms we can say boys are having high amplitude, low frequency sound, and girl's voice is having high frequency, low amplitude sound. Okay, this thing you need to remember. Next thing is the maximum, this we have discussed the amplitude or the loudness. The motion of the pendulum from one extreme position to another extreme position is called this oscillation, means to and back and forth motion. So one motion from back to forth is called oscillation. The time taken to complete one oscillation is called as time period. So I am discussing about the frequency, how many motions to and fro motions are there, or back and forth motions are there in 1 minute or 1 second. So in one motion, how much time is taken, it is called time period. The number of oscillation per second is called frequency. So here we introduce by some terms. Vibration means to and fro motion. Second thing, amplitude means loudness. Maximum displacement from the central position. Then oscillation, complete back and forth movement. Time period in one oscillation, time taken, and per second how many vibrations are there, how many oscillations are there. It is called frequency or pitch, and the unit is hertz. Okay, this is important for examination point of view. The unit of frequency is hertz, and frequency is also called pitch. So if I say high pitch sound means high frequency sound, Low pitch sound means low frequency sound. High loudness, more loudness means more amplitude. So amplitude and frequency we can remember. Next slide. Loudness and pitch of the sound. So as we have discussed, loudness means amplitude and pitch means frequency. The loudness of sound depends upon the amplitude or of vibration. Simple. If the amplitude is less, the sound is feeble. The amplitude is more, sound is loud. Okay. The unit of loudness is called decibel and the unit of frequency is called hertz. The pitch of the sound depends on the frequency of vibration. The frequency is less, sound is having low pitch, frequency is more, it is having high pitch. Okay. For example, sound of whistle or baby or girl. Okay. So this is the difference between loudness and pitch. Pitch means frequency, loudness means amplitude. This is how you can remember decibel and hertz. Audible and inaudible sound. So now we have learned about the frequency and the amplitude. So our ears cannot hear every type of frequency. There is a limit, 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Okay. What do you mean by hertz? Unit of frequency. So we can hear the range from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. So below 20 hertz frequency sound we cannot hear, above 20,000 hertz sound we cannot hear. So our ears can hear only 20 hertz above and below 20,000 hertz. This is the range. So below 20 hertz and above 20,000 hertz are called inaudible sounds. These sounds we cannot hear, but this is only problem of humans. Many animals can hear that sound which is inaudible to us. Okay. And this is how bats can communicate, and we don't know that okay, bats are communicating because we cannot hear that sound. Inaudible sound is sound which we cannot hear, less than 20 hertz and more than 20,000 hertz. Less than 20 vibration per second and more than 20 vibration per second, this is the meaning of hertz, per second vibration. Sound whose frequencies are more than 20,000 hertz is called ultrasonic sound. Okay. Some animals like dogs can hear ultrasonic sounds and bats produce ultrasonic sound. So what sound is producing bats? Dogs can hear that sound, we cannot hear that sound. And interestingly, bats move in night, they travel in night. So if there is any wall, okay, if there is any wall and in night bats cannot see the wall, so how they know? Actually they produce ultrasonic sound, the sound go to the wall and again return. So if the sound is returning we cannot hear, okay, but bats can hear. So they know okay, there is some object. So if there is no object, the sound will not return, and this is how they know they can go further. So they are having many benefits of this ability. So here the point is there are some frequencies which we cannot hear, but some animals can hear those frequencies. Okay. Now noise and musical sound, I think that we all know the difference. Musical sound is that sound which we love to hear, okay, which is not uncomfortable to us, and noise which is uncomfortable to us. But there is a very slight difference, because some people, one sound may be noise for some people, music for some people, but we are having general, in general we are seeing. So if sound is very loud and more frequent, okay, then it can become noise. And because we know that ears are very important part of our body, we need ears for communication, for hearing, for balancing our body. So noise pollution is also very harmful for us. If we are having noise, it can make us restlessness, or there are many harmful effects of noise pollution. So let's learn about noise and music. Noise, an unpleasant sound. Okay, unpleasant sound is called noise. It is produced by irregular vibration. If all students of classroom speak together, it is called noise. Sound produced by horns or buses and trucks. I think these examples are very clear to you, very simple to understand. Musical sound. Sound which is pleasing to ears is called musical sound. It is produced by regular vibration. For example, sound produced by musical instrument, sound produced by a person which is singing a song. Okay. So noise and music, very simple to understand. Noise pollution. The presence of excessive or unwanted sound in the environment is called noise pollution. Causes of noise pollution, I think that we all know. Noise pollution is caused by sounds of vehicles, explosion of bursting crackers, machines, loudspeakers. These are some reasons for noise pollution. What are the harmful effects? Noise pollution can cause several health problems: lack of sleep, hypertension, high blood pressure, and anxiety. A person exposed to loud sound continuously may get temporary or permanent impairment of hearing. Very high level of sound may lead to hearing impairment. Measures to limit the noise pollution. Now we know that noise pollution is harmful for us, so we must have some measures to limit the noise pollution. Very simple. I think that we all are aware about these measures. So what are these measures? Noise pollution can be reduced by using silence in vehicles, industrial machines and home appliances, reducing of vehicle horns, running TV, radio, musical systems at low volumes, planting of trees. Trees also absorb sound. So there are multiple benefits of planting trees. Okay, so from class 7th to 8th, when we have learned so many chapters we have covered, in every chapter if there is any problem, planting of trees may be a solution. And buildings also have to reduce noise pollution. So very simple to understand these things, I think. The only difficult part of this chapter is this technical terms, okay, loudness and pitch, I mean frequency and amplitude, time period, and then there may be some questions. Okay, so you students, you can revise the video or you can refer to your NCERT textbook. Although these technical details slightly difficult to remember, but not that much difficult if you pay the attention. Okay, amplitude, time period, frequency, vibration. What do you mean by amplitude? Again I am repeating, loudness of the sound, maximum displacement. What is the frequency? Pitch of the sound, how many vibrations in particular time, amount of time. And the unit of frequency was hertz, unit of amplitude was decibels, loudness, and time period for one oscillation, how much time is taken. So this thing requires some practice. So these are some examples you can see of noise pollution, why noise pollution created. Okay. So with these slides we end this chapter, but you may refer to the NCERT textbook also. You must read any chapter completely from NCERT, then only your chapter will be complete. So in my next presentation I will try to cover chapter number 14, which is chemical effects of electric current. Thank you so much to all for being till end.